guys, I'm Sophie. I started my Instagram page to show off my cross stitch about a year ago. So my Instagram, I'll tag below. It's called SophSoph, so SophSewph. Why am I called SophSoph? Well, my niece, who is 9, when she was a baby, she used to, she couldn't say Sophie, which is understandable. It's quite a hard name for kids to say. So she just called me Auntie SophSoph. And then when I was thinking of what I could call my Instagram page, it just came to me. And I just thought I'll change the SOPH on the last Soph into SEW, so. On this channel you see mostly cross stitch. I do embroidery and needle punch. It's not as common as my cross stitching, but they're two things I enjoy doing as well. So if you want to see any of that on this channel, please let me know. But the majority of it will be cross stitch. I've been cross stitching for, let me think, I can't even remember how long. I used to get little kits from my mum every Easter holidays, bank holidays, summer holidays. We used to go out to Hobbycraft in the UK and we used to buy whatever kit. I think it was either Hobbycraft or The Range, and she'd buy me a kit, so it could be like painting rocks or those little scratching art, so they're like painted in black and then you scratch them and there's foil underneath. I loved anything artistic, and she was so artistic as well, so I think she just loved sharing that with me. But she taught me how to cross stitch years ago, and I think I used to make like Winnie the Pooh ones, the Me to You bears I think they were called. So I've done loads in the past with like bookmarks and stuff. I had a long break where I didn't do anything. I think I grew up a bit and I was more interested in going out partying and things, and I dabbled here and there with different kits. But when the pandemic hit, I just my life changed really. I just slowed down and I just thought, do you know what, this is perfect for me. I need to pick that up again because I love it so much. And don't get me wrong, when I picked it up, it'd been a while, so I was quite frustrated when I started. There was a few like curse words when I was doing it, and yeah, I just got a bit frustrated. But the more I practiced, it all came back to me and I was like, yes, I've got this. And now I can't go a day without stitching. One of the reasons I wanted to start this channel, not only to meet other people and to chat to like-minded people and learn from people and get tips and hints and things like that, is because my boyfriend is sick of hearing about cross stitch. He loves seeing them when they're done, but every night I'm like, look at my progress, look at my progress. And he's like, it doesn't look any different from an hour before. And to him it won't, and to most people it won't, but to you guys who love cross stitching and to me, yeah, you can see the difference. So I really wanted to join a community where people actually get what I'm talking about instead of me annoying them. But I can understand it. If he sat there and talked to me about drumming for even 10 minutes in detail, I would probably just fall asleep. So yeah, I get it. So a little bit about me. I live in Wales in a small valley town called Pontypridd. I've been here for the last 6 years, and my partner Johnny lives with me, and we have a little whippet called Molly, which you'll probably see in some of the videos. She likes to come up and when she's not sleeping, she likes to come up and see what I'm doing, knows everything, and then go back to bed. So you'll probably see her at some point. When I got back into cross stitching, the first one I did was this one. So this is by a little shop on Etsy called Plastic Little Covers. So I bought this one and the next one, so I'll show you in a bit. But I absolutely loved it. It's just a play on Cyndi Lauper's song Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Demental Human Rights. And I just thought it was so cool. And it was just a nice easy one to get myself back into it. Looking at it now, the way it's stitched I could improve on, but you know, I hadn't stitched in years and it was the first one I got picked up. This was actually in a frame up until like a week ago. I was tidying my office and accidentally pushed it off the edge of a shelf and the frame broke. So maybe one of my next videos I'll be showing you it framed again. Who knows? We shall see. Plastic Little Covers also did this one. So I love this one. I just think the word fuck and then the flowers together are just great. Yeah, I love all the swearing ones. I haven't done many, but yeah, I think it's so cool. My little niece comes in, and Effie, and she's like, Soph, what does that say? I'm like, you know what it says. She's 9. And she's obsessed with doing, like, trying to get people to swear because she knows you shouldn't. And I'm like, you know what it says? And she's like, no, I don't, say it. And I'm like, it says luck, okay? It says luck. She's like, no, it doesn't. So, well, you can say it when you're older, but yeah. So that one, it was quite nice to get back into backstitch on this. Both of these patterns were 14 count, I believe, just like a basic Aida. And I just put this one on a hoop and then did the backing. It's not the best backing in the world, but practice makes perfect, or practice makes improvement, should I say. So there's those two. So after I did those, I think I moved on to a few others. I've probably gifted those ones. But this one was from a company on Etsy called 2x2 Stitch Art. So this came with a pack of 3. So I'll see if I can get the picture and pop it up here. But yeah, this is one of them, and it's the only one I've stitched so far, but I absolutely love it. I love camping, I love exploring, and it just kind of speaks to me. And I just love the way the sky was done, and the mountains, they just look so lovely. And it was a full coverage as well, which I don't usually do. I want to do more of. But yeah, that was stitched on 14 count as well, I believe. You can just see it. It's just like a basic 14 count. You can see the white on the edges there. And again, I've poorly stitched the back here, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, the other two as part of that collection, I think one of them says not all who wander are lost, and then I'm sure the other one is just adventure, and that one's over some mountains as well. But I'll just pop up the pictures here and you see what I'm talking about. So that was really fun to stitch. I did start stitching it, and then I left it in a box for about a year, and then I came back to it. And when I come back to it, I was like, why did I leave this one? I really don't know. So the next one is something I kind of collaborated with an embroidery artist with. So it's not my design, I just converted it into a cross stitch. So Vika Space on Instagram, and I believe she's on YouTube as well, does these fantastic colourful like mountainscapes, and they're all embroidery patterns. And I bought the embroidery pattern of this, and then I got into a conversation with her on Instagram because she was asking people if they would like to change one of her patterns into a cross stitch. And I was like, well, I've got Mac Stitch on my computer, on my Mac. I can do it, and I'd love to do it actually because I really like your designs. So I picked this one, which is called Orange and Teal Mountain Range, and I changed it into cross stitch, and it is just fantastic. I love it. I stitched it on 14 count Rustico. You'll probably see that a lot of my stuff is stitched on that just because I bought a big reel of it. And it's just great. It looks quite like vintage. I kind of want to steer away from like 14 count going forward and try new things, and just try more complicated things. That's why I kind of joined FlossTube, but a lot of the stuff you'll see will be on 14 count at the minute. But this pattern, the colours are just fantastic. Like, they go so well, and I had so much fun stitching it and converting it as well. So thank you, Vika. I really enjoyed that. So I work part-time as a logistics planner, so I organise recycling around the UK to be like hauled here, there and everywhere. So I do that part-time, and I stitch part-time. So I have been teaching some workshops in my local area, how to like cross-stitch beginners lessons and things like that. And one of the things I wanted was a QR code. So when people come to my workshops, they can start following me on Instagram and see what I'm doing on there. And I didn't just want to print out a QR code, so I stitched one. So I designed it on Mac Stitch, and honestly, when I was doing it, I was just like, this is not going to work, it's not going to scan. And it did. I couldn't believe it. I was like, stitching it for a couple of days thinking this is just going to be a waste of my time. But it really works. So if you need anything like this, I recommend doing it. And I've had so many comments about how cool it is. But yeah, no mistakes can be made. Otherwise you'll get like some random person on Instagram or something, or some random website that you probably don't want to go to. So there's that one. And then the other one I wanted to show you was a pattern I've done myself. So it is just a basic pattern. It's designed for 14 count. And I've done this on Rustico as well, like the other two I just showed you. But it's a little pattern just to celebrate the country I'm from, which is Wales. We're known for our sheep. Everyone takes the mick out of us for the amount of sheep we have in the country. And we've got a lot of mountains, and yeah, just the countryside here is lovely. So I just wanted to stitch that. So this is the shape of Wales on the map. So this is where it'd be attached to England. But yeah, this is Wales, and then I've got some little sheep on there, and I've done some mountains. I've done the sky as well. I kind of wish I'd done darker sky, maybe like darker blue, so it's like the night sky because there's stars in there, or put like clouds in there. But that's something I could potentially do in the future. But that was just a little thing I just wanted to play around with and design. But if you do like this pattern, it is on my Etsy store, which I've linked below, so check it out. Another one that I've recently done, I say recently, it was probably about a year and a bit ago. But this one sits on my living room wall. So we've decorated it. My partner used to live in Colorado for about 4 years, and he loves, or we both love, like country music, Western style. In our living room we've got like horseshoes everywhere, so we've got one either side of our fireplace, and then we've got one above the door. We've got our cowboy hats hanging either side of our window. Just a lot of like Western style. It's just what we're into. And this one I saw on Etsy and I fell completely in love with. So this is Badlands National Park, and it's by Awesome Pattern Studio, and it's just incredible. It's one of another full coverage I've done. I've probably shown you 2 full coverages, and I think apart from this one I've done another one which I've gifted. But yeah, it's just, I love it. Just the mountains were incredible. I just thought when I was stitching it, like, there's no way these are gonna look like mountains, and it does. There was tedious bits, like the bits they're all one colour, like here, and especially the sky, because the sky was the last bit I stitched. Probably start the other way around because it was the least fun to do. But this is when I used to start in the middle. I do sometimes still. I like to start in the top left. I like to mix it up a little bit, but I started in the middle here, and I kind of wish I'd started top left and then worked way down and got the more fun bits at the end, because that was just a little bit boring. But the way it turned out, it doesn't matter. The some bits were boring. I absolutely love it. So I've also bought another one from this company. I think it's the Grand Canyon, and it has buffaloes in it as well. Sensing a theme. So yeah, that will be stitched at some point. Yeah, I've got like 19 PDF patterns. I need to get myself through 9 paper patterns and then about 5 books. So they will get stitched at some point. I love them. They're in my collection. But yeah, it's just having the time of the day. I wish I had like 20 arms, 500 hours a day, and like really good eyesight that doesn't get tired. And then I'd be doing all the stitching I wanted to do. The last one I wanted to show you, you might not see it because it's in a frame with quite a reflective surface, so I apologise. I'll try and get as best in the camera as possible. But this was made for my friend's son. So she lives out in Colorado and she's got 2 little ones. I've not met her son yet, but I've met her daughter. And yeah, I decided to make the one for her son first. He's the youngest, and then I'm in the middle. One of my WIPs is one for a daughter, so I'll show you in a minute. But even though they're a few years old now, I still wanted to stitch them so they had like a little memory of when they were born. So I have stitched this. It says Adventure Awaits, and then it's got his name, Henry George Dickinson, the time he was born, the date he was born, and then his weight. I did notice that I've done it in English format or British format, the date, but she said she actually quite likes that because it shows where it comes from. So yeah, this is, I really love it. I love the details in the map, all the different blues and the stars. So this is from an Etsy shop called Stitch Lovers Shop. I love all the patterns on there. I think I've bought quite a few of these Adventure Awaits ones. I've got one I need to stitch soon for my boyfriend's new nephew. Yeah, which I'm really excited to do. But yeah, I love that shop. Another one I bought from here is one of my WIPs, which I'll show you in a minute. So they're the ones, like the completed ones I wanted to show you. I do have some completed like needle punch stuff and embroidery, and recently I've been embroidering paper and creating like art out of that. So if that's something you want to see, definitely let me know, because it's something I'd really love to show you. But yeah, I completely understand if you just want to keep it a cross stitch. That's my main hobby anyway, so let me know about that. One thing I wanted to talk about as well is what I do when I cross stitch. So I tend to watch programs, either, well, Netflix, Now TV, anything, Apple TV. Apple TV's probably got the best series at, you know, series choice at the moment, I think. But yeah, I like to watch that, like TV. So I wanted to talk about that on my channel really and get like recommendations from people. Because I saw a lot of creatives were watching Gilmore Girls, and I'd never watched it before. I actually used to find it quite annoying when I saw it on TV. They were just very in your face, and I was like, do you know what, so many artists love Gilmore Girls, I need to give it a go. And I actually watched it and I really enjoyed it. But it was one of those things like Friends, when you get into it, there's so many series. I like completing things, and it's probably why I've only got a couple of WIPs. And I just keep doing something until it's completed. And I don't really like leaving things and moving on to other things. So I just kept watching it. And by the end, I was just like, I'm done now. I can't watch anymore, but I had to finish it to see what happened. So suggestions of like small series that leave me wanting more is always quite good. Like recently I watched Daisy Jones and the Six, and that was incredible. I think I might rewatch it. That is probably one of my favourite series. And then Maid on Netflix, incredible. I've watched that 3 times. Just heartbreaking, but just so well filmed, so well acted. That was so good. On the flip side, there's other things I watch as well. So me and my partner have become obsessed with Below Deck, and we've recently finished it, and I'm quite sad. We've seen the ones with Captain Lee. We didn't really watch the Mediterranean ones, but we fell in love with Below Deck Sailing Yacht, and Captain Glenn's just the best, and we love Colin on there as well. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling about things you don't know, but if you like trashy TV and you like doing that when you stitch, definitely give that a try, because I loved it. Another thing I love doing when I'm stitching is listening to audiobooks as well. It's a new hobby for me because I loved reading. Put reading down to stitching, because I stitch every day. I don't really find time to read, so being able to put an audiobook in my ears and actually feel like I'm reading, because I feel like it's a bit cheating, but you know, you read a book in your ear, it's fine. So I do that while I'm stitching now as well, and podcasts as well. So any suggestions anyone's got on series to watch, films to watch, because I love putting films on as well. I love subtitled stuff, but you can't do it when you're stitching. So just any suggestions for things I can watch intermittently, really. So that's something I wanted to discuss on my FlossTube, just what I've been watching while I'm stitching. Onto my WIPs. So just wanted to show you first my one and only WIP bag. Probably have to buy more now I'm doing FlossTube, because I probably will get enabled by people. I'm already getting enabled on Instagram. I started watching other people's FlossTubes and I couldn't stop buying stuff. I was like on eBay looking at patterns and looking at WIP bags and new needle minders and stuff, and I just got obsessed. And I was like, so if you need to slow down, you're buying too much now, especially patterns. Like, I've got way too many that I need to stitch. I think I'm going to put a ban on myself, like not buying any new ones and trying to get through the ones I've got. That's my plan for 2023. We'll see how well that goes. So this is my WIP bag. So it is from, it says on the bottom here, Sister Susie Sews on Etsy. And there was one that I fell in love with. It was like a orange, like hippie pattern like this, I think. And it was not in stock and I just wanted one badly. So I bought this colour. And I think I'll go back and buy another one because I've got 2 WIPs on the go now. Not a lot compared to most people on here. I know a lot of people have like 30, but if I'm honest, if I had over 5, I'd feel like nervous about it. I just like things that I know I'm going to complete. But watch this space, you know, doing FlossTube, I might just get enabled and have so many projects on the go that I need about 20 WIP bags. But yeah, I'm going to a few stitch retreats. I've never been to any before, not in 2023. I've booked them for 2024. I've got 2 booked and I'm so excited to go to them. So I feel like I need a couple, or not even a couple, I've got a couple now, but I need more than 2, maybe 4, so I can kind of just do different projects while I'm there. And yeah, you might see them on the channel going forward. But this is the WIP bag, so lovely. It's got like a plastic front and it's got a zip here and that bit's fabric here. And you turn it around and it's got like a quilted back there. Not quilted, but yeah, I think that's quilted, I don't know. Whoever sews on machines probably knows better than I do, but this is so lovely and it just protects it and you can see what's in there as well, which I absolutely love. So I'll definitely be going back to her store and getting some more. I mentioned earlier about Sammy and Connor in Colorado and me doing the cross stitch for their son, Henry. I'm actually doing one for their daughter, Olivia. I've got a frame to frame it in. I've just been really slow with this one. I started it on the 30th of December and I've had so many other things. I think I had like 3 commissions from customers of mine to design and stitch their things, so this kind of took a back seat and I'm still stitching it, but I've made really good progress watching Below Deck with it recently, so I'm not far off. So this is it. I won't show you what it's like completed because you pretty much see it here. It's almost done, it just needs the name at the bottom. So it's similar to, it's from the same shop, Stitch Lovers shop on Etsy, and it's got Adventure Awaits at the top, slightly different arrow, and then the world map is made up of, I think they're poppies. But it's just so beautiful. I've done this pattern before for my niece Daisy when she was born, and I just needed to reuse it because it's so lovely. But all the colours are in here. I think there's just an island there that I need to stitch in blue, and then the rest of it is the black inside the flowers here. So yeah, and then the name, date and stuff. So that is pretty much done. But I did start a new one yesterday because I wanted to have 2 WIPs at least to show you on my FlossTube. So I started a new one. This has taken a little bit of a back seat, but I intend to film each month. So I'm hoping this will be a finish for next month so I can show you. But I am addicted to the new one I've picked up, so we shall see. So I use, I do paper patterns sometimes, but I prefer using my iPad. And everyone was talking about Pattern Keeper and I was getting really stressed about the fact that I've got all Mac products. I didn't want to buy an Android. I don't know how to use them. I know people swear by them and they're cheaper, but I'm an Apple person through and through, and I was just really stressing about it. I was like, do I just buy a £50 tablet and just use Pattern Keeper on that? And that was an option. And I really forget the name of the cross stitcher. I think it might have been Sammy. I'm really sorry if you do ever watch this. I think it was Sammy on Instagram, and she said that there's a app called Marked Up. I think it's like Marked RX Up on Mac, on like iPads that you can use. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to give that a go because it saves me buying something new. I try not to buy loads of stuff. I try and keep my buying to a minimum because I buy so much cross stitch stuff. I was like, I can't afford it. And I don't even know if I'm going to like Pattern Keeper, even though people rave about it all the time. So I've got this app and I'm using it for this one. It's the first one I've ever done, and it's so good because it tells you how many hours you've done. It converts the key for you. It's probably just like Pattern Keeper, so if you're listening, you're probably like, you're really late to the bandwagon. But yeah, it's great. So I've been using this and I think I've been stitching 5 hours. So I started it yesterday. I've done 5 hours so far and I will show you now. The odd thing about it though is it splits it into like 6 pages and I'm on the top left. So I'm going to stitch all of that, then move to the next page and the next page, which is different for me because usually I kind of stitch right across the top and then, you know, line by line really, or like object by object. So it's a bit strange for me because like some of it is half finished, but I'm going to try it like that and see how it works. So I'll explain it now. So this is where the page stops. So as you can see, it's like halfway through Beach Hut, and that's how I'm going to stitch it, because then I'll move on to the next page and then I'll stitch the rest. But this one I am making for my dad and my Mary. She's technically my stepmom, my dad's girlfriend. They've recently moved from Cardiff, which is the capital of Wales, to West Wales, which is close to Tenby, close to beaches, just more rural than he's ever had before. He's lived in Cardiff all his life. So it's something he's always wanted to do when he retired. He retired recently. Mary's retiring in July, but she's moved down there. And I'm so pleased for them. I wanted to stitch something that kind of just celebrated it, and they've already moved. I should have done 8 months ago, but I've only just found the perfect fabric for it. So this fabric is Boardwalk, I believe, by Cross Stitch Bunny, and I think it's just the perfect fabric for it. So it looks like whitewashed wood, and then the whole pattern is just blues. So there's 3 DMC, and this is 14 count Aida. So there's 3 DMCs on it, and it just looked like this pattern is painted onto wood, and I just think that's so exciting. I just think it just fits perfectly. So I'll probably put in like a washed out white frame as well. That only just came to my mind then, but I think that would look perfect. So yeah, this pattern is Stitchrovia, so Emma Congdon. I've actually got 2 of her books, but this one I bought off Etsy. And at the top there are going to be beach huts, and then it says, "Oh, I do like to be beside the sea." My dad loves singing. He's not the best at it, but he sings all the time and dances all the time, and it just reminds me of living with him and him singing it constantly. And the fact that he's moved to the sea now, or like 10-15 minutes from the sea, I just thought it was the perfect pattern for him. So that is going to look nice in their little, their big house they've just bought when it's finished. And Mary, if you're watching this, I think you'll appreciate the fact that I'm showing it, because we call her back page Mary. If she's reading a book, she has to read the back page to figure out what happens. So she'll love the fact that she gets to see this before it's even done. So there you go. But yeah, they're my 2 WIPs that I've got at the moment. There's so many that I want to stitch. Like I said earlier, I've got 19 PDFs on my iPad that I really want to do. I won't show you those today, but I do want to go through a couple of patterns that I really want to stitch that I've got in paper format. So firstly, I mentioned Emma Congdon with Stitchrovia there. I've got 2 of her books. So I've got Cross Stitch for the Earth, and then I've got her Cross Stitch for the Soul. I know she's got a book that's like Cross Stitch for Love as well, but it didn't speak to me as much as these 2. But as you can see at the top, I've got so many marked that I need to stitch. And one of them, let me see if I can get it without showing you the pattern. is probably the next one I'm going to stitch. So go outside and unplug. I just love it. I love going for hikes with my little dog, and I go camping a lot, and just not being by my phone and just like having no signal is quite nice. I really enjoy it because I'm constantly on like Instagram looking at cross stitches and talking to people and stuff. But the detail on here is so cute. There's like a little deer, I think there's some birds at the top, some mountains, a duck. I just love it because yeah, it's just great. So that is one that I really want to stitch, but one that I've kitted up for recently in this book is this full coverage piece, and it's just so lovely. So it's got like a little ladybird on it, a fox, a spider, a duck. It's just got so many different things on there. It's like a sampler of like different, there's autumn, spring, summer in there. So I might start that and do like spring now, because it's just turned spring. Spring equinox was a couple of days ago. But there's like loads of patterns in these two books that I need to get through. So you'll probably see these on future videos. So I've got a little folder here of like paper patterns that I've got before I discovered I could store it all on my iPad. Or recently I've been doing like eBay shopping and eBay bidding, which I get really competitive with. I don't know if anyone's got any tips, because I even set like a limit of what I'm going to spend, and then I'm just like, no, you will not have this piece of cross stitch. This cross stitch pattern is mine. And I get so competitive, and then I have to stop myself, search for it elsewhere, and I'll find it cheaper, and I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't have paid that much money for that. So this is one of my challenges for this year. So it's Mirabilia cross stitch, and this is the Mermaid of Atlantis, and it's so beautiful. I absolutely love this. So I'm slowly kitting it up, because I didn't realise how much it was going to cost me to kit it up. I should have realised looking at other people's finished pieces. But yeah, I've only bought the beads so far, and I think that's cost me like 25 quid. The fabric I've bought as well, and that's on its way. It's like a lighter green than this, but it's 32 count. It's White Art, I think. So that's on its way. I think that's coming from the States. So when that arrives, I'll show you. But I'm slowly kitting it up, and once I've got it all, I want to stitch that. But that's one I want to take to a retreat with me, just as a big one. But if anyone's got any recommendations, because I know there's a lot of beading on here, I don't have a frame that I can stitch it on. So any advice on what frame to buy to stitch these would be greatly appreciated. I've got like some snap-ons, but I just don't have a frame to then attach it to. So yeah, enable me to buy more cross-stitch stuff, please, because I want this one to be as easy as possible. And mats as well for beads. If you know of any good mats, please let me know, because yeah, I've never really beaded on things before. Another one that I've got, I had this as a present from my work colleagues, not this year, last year for my birthday. Still haven't stitched it yet. But it's from a company on Etsy called So Easy Pattern. So it's got their little pattern here, but it says, I do not spew profanities. I enunciate them clearly like a fucking lady. And I thought that was great. So yeah, my team know me quite well. So I will definitely be stitching that at some point. That's going to be a nice easy one when I'm doing full coverages and big pieces, I think, just to come back to. That came with like a hoop and the pattern, the paper pattern. I think I've used the hoop for something else, but I'll find another one, I'm sure. What else have we got in here that I want to show you? I don't want to do too much rustling because I know it annoys some people. So this is an eBay purchase I got recently, which is really strange because it's a Christmas one. I don't really like Christmas. I apologise to anyone out there who does. I prefer Halloween, but I thought I've got to embrace it somehow. So what's the least Christmassy pattern I can get? And I just saw this and I fell in love with it. And it's like a little department store. It's called Kringles, and let me see, designed by Diane Williams, Little House Needleworks at the top there. So it's like a little department store, like an old school department store with like little Christmas trees in there and toys and things like that. And I just thought it was really sweet because I love Victorian buildings. I'm obsessed. My nan used to live in one, and as a kid I thought it was the best thing in the world when I used to read Harry Potter. Yeah, that is a plan for Christmas. But I don't know whether I should start at Christmas or stitch in time for, but because I'm not a big Christmas fan, I'll probably start stitching then and then pick it up each Christmas until it's done. I won't show you all of them because I've got to keep some secret for like the next couple of videos. This one is from a cross stitching, the world of cross stitching. So I bought this off eBay. I bought the pages, and the lady who gave it to me gave me a free pattern in there as well. There's a few like Happy New Year stitches in there that I thought would be quite cool just to stitch. But I'm obsessed with geese. I love geese. So anytime I hear them flying above, it just feels like home. And I don't know what that means. I think I was reincarnated from a goose. Maybe, who knows. But this is just lovely. I don't know what number magazine it came from. I've just got the pages, but it's just such a lovely pattern. So I think because it's all snowy, I think that's another one I might stitch around Christmas time. But look at the pink in the sky and then the blues. I'm just so excited to stitch that one. So that's all I really wanted to go through really. I hope you liked the video. I apologise if I rambled. I hope you can understand me. Yeah, thank you so much for watching if you have. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'll be nattering on about loads of other cross stitch stuff in later videos. I'm hoping to post this soon, but I've never really edited anything before, so it might take me a little while. So I filmed this on the 28th of March. Let's see when we get it up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting to you all, and hope you're all well.